please continue from where you stopped, so we don't eat too much time.
Like I was saying, the other stakeholder is URA, which needs to equally, contribute and focus. Like the passion it had for women's rugby. That's like last weekend when Michael said URA should focus on sevens.
True.
Well, in part, I agree with him, but also I think it shouldn't be just, So, and there's an opportunity there, for Ugandan rugby through sevens for both the men and the women. So URU should actually also equally focus and put as much effort. I also want to challenge URU to say, like next year, 2021, to actually focus, to put in a lot more attention to women's rugby, especially the sevens, and see where it goes.
Is it because women's rugby is not well represented on the URU board that we are seeing such problems come?
I wouldn't, it might be a factor, but how come before we didn't have that much representation, but still would have opportunities and games to play? I think it's about the interest and the effort. The representation right now in the URU board is actually more than what it was before. So probably maybe even our representation, the ladies on the board, should actually push and make sure things happen for women's rugby in Uganda. So that's a challenge I'm trying to give URU, like 2021, put in time for the women's sevens too. Trust me, they will not disappoint. We shall actually produce results, and it will be a venture. Like the potential and the chances for Ugandan rugby to grow are there in the women's sevens team. Yeah,
that's
and
true.
then the fans always have fans. There's Team Orange. We have fans who always support us. They've always been there. There's Team Orange who are always, that's our opposition, a team of boys and men, who come to help, who are experienced players, who have come together to help.
Yeah, I remember that game when they put on skirts.
Yeah,
I remember the game when they put on skirts.
that was dress rugby. Team Orange is a serious team. Team Orange, they even sign contracts. It's a serious team. You don't mess with Team Orange. So we play when we're preparing for tournaments. We always play against them on Sundays. So we have like players like there's Timo, there's the Redos, there's Lincoln, there's Wadia, Mutax has played before. We've had Raul. We have so many people who come.
Since we've mentioned Team Orange, I think more of us will be joining, and
please,
because what I'm seeing with women's rugby is also they lack like sincerely, like most of us have not been doing so much to put you on our platforms to mention women's rugby and everything, and I think it is about time all the media houses picked on women's rugby, because it matters as much as men's rugby.
I think that would come that would appreciate actually like the support. But even I would like to invite whoever is interested in playing for Team Orange.
No, we can form another team. We can call it Team maybe Purple, something like that.
As long as we want to have as many games as possible.
Because
we can't.
I don't like.
We have to prepare.
I don't like being baby Red's teammate. So, really, we have our differences.
Would you have to be his opponent? Would you enjoy being his opponent? And Timo is also on the other side. So, just think about your decision at this point.
We can do a mini tournament. So,
that will go a long way to supporting women's rugby. So we would appreciate that.
So besides the banter, as you've said, we all of us we need to put hands together to support women's rugby. We need to put it back on the map as it was back then in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
closing the chapter of women's rugby, because I'm sure very many have taken notice of what we need to do to bring back the women's game in Uganda. Let's talk about Charlotte. Who's Charlotte besides rugby?
Uh, Charlotte, basically, uh, Charlotte is a lawyer by profession. Um, is a lawyer by profession, working with as a senior registration officer at URSB. I know most of you have heard about URSB,
Mm-hmm.
Uganda Registration Services Bureau.
Yeah.
I come from a family of we are 4 kids. I'm the youngest, 3 brothers. Oh, by the way, Fred is not the oldest. We have a bigger brother, and he's way bigger and taller than Timo. Timo is a dwarf. So, so basically that's it. About my if anyone wants to know whether I'm single or dating, I think I would prefer doing that face to face. Whoever wants to know, with a beer, with a couple of beers, and we just jazz and chat. So whoever is interested,
So
you know
okay,
how to
me,
find me. You can.
I'm taking whiskey and we are face to face. Are you dating or are you single?
That would be a conversation for when you're in Uganda.
So I'm going to bring a few of our fans on board, and so we enjoy some live chat together. I want Jose to come on air to give us a more lively interview and ask more questions because he's saying he has so much data for us today. So Jose, please request to join the interview and we shall add you.
Jose, Jose, tread carefully.
Uh, since the younger brother of the Raiders is a puppet, I think the elder brother Gab can represent. We have
Helen
coach.
has.
Yes, we have Coach Helen. We welcome you, though you've come at a time when this interview is about to end, and now we are in a quick question and answer. Any questions towards Charlotte? We shall welcome them, and we're going to answer them one by one. So any questions from the fans, we welcome them, and Charlotte will be ready to answer them.
Yeah, you've refused to request Jose's
There
names.
is no request here. So Timo asked a question during the other the ended live chat that we have actually we have a problem of forwards both in the men's and women's rugby, I think. So what is the way forward to handling such issues in the women's game?
I think, okay, my answer, I think I'm going to answer this because it applies to both the men and the women. You know,
Yeah.
you know, the forwards, basically, the forwards are the engine of the team. You know, they
True.
take the team forward, and the best, like the best, uh, the best quality when it comes to forward, they need to work as a unit. They need to know each other and understand each other. You know, so they need to be given time to train together. For example, if you have gym sessions, the forwards need to work together, especially the front rows. You know, you have all the front rows. If you're doing this, they need to like work together in the gym as forwards. Then when you're coming to structure, they need to have a session as forwards, not picking a session like you do one and no. it has to be even more than one session in a week as forwards.
Sure.
To work on the structure, what you're supposed to do, what kind of line out you have to do. If it comes to doing 100 lifts to perfect, you know. So rugby is a very technical game, and forwards, their part is very, very technical and very vital in a 15s rugby game. So I feel we need to put in more effort when training forwards and actually coaching forwards. And then let's not think if you're a forward, you have to be, okay, rugby is for all sizes, but it has evolved, so you don't have to be boom boom. As long as you're strong and you have the muscle, you can carry yourself and you can make those big hits, then that's all we need for the forwards. So personally, I think for coaches, 15s coaches going forward, they need to learn to train more as a unit,
Yeah.
as a unit. Put in more time for them to train. That you see those guys, they have forward coaches. Pick a weekend and say Saturday forwards come, the whole 40 hours it's just forwards, focusing on forwards.
That's
you pick
true.
a day, 2 days in a week, forwards, we are going to the gym. You have targets, each one. Props, this is your target. Locks, this is your target. Flankers, number 8, this is your target. And people have to hit those targets. So, and then you have to give people things to do even outside the national team session to see who's actually supposed to do. So
that's true.
I think that's what we need to do going forward. Yeah.
Yeah. So another question coming in from Eunice. What are your long-term and short-term goals as a lady crane for both the 7s and 15s? Are we still seeing more of Charlotte playing the game of rugby, or you want to divert into coaching, something like that? Tell us more.
I think for now I'm still playing. For now, I'm still going to play, and as my coach once advised me and told me, Helen, she talked to me and told me I still have playing years in me. I can actually still play.
Okay.
And and she believes as a player right now, I can actually help so many young girls who are coming up. But of course, in the future, I would like to follow in her footsteps, and because I'm more interested in strength and conditioning and
Okay.
S&C. So I would like to follow in her footsteps and actually be more of a personal trainer, S&C, strength and conditioning coach.
So
basically, that's what
we are seeing Mudoola sports boom more and more.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
I get the direction where you want to go.
I'll be the fan in Mudoola sports.
Yeah, because many of us in the Mudoola sports family know you as the Bappy master. So
man,
yeah, and guys, it is about that time when the nicknames started coming in, because we haven't had any of the nicknames we need to know, like we know Timo's Kameto nickname. Like we need to get to know those nicknames in the women rugby world. Coach Helen, please help us, entice us. Also, another.
Oh my God!
As we continue, another question came in from Kimbo. How are you reconciling the fears some parents have towards ladies getting engaged in playing rugby?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm lucky. I'm one of the few whose parents, they've supported me despite getting you get so many injuries, but they don't discourage you and they still support you. They even drive you to go for your session with a doctor and everything. So I'm one of the lucky few. But I think the best way to actually involve letting a mother let their daughter play rugby is to actually involve the mother more.
Okay.
I think that's, involve the mother more so that she can actually understand and respect the sport. But then also the fact that the sport instills discipline, discipline and so you have to sell it in a way to show that, what, it's not a bad sport after all. You show that role models, the people that the daughter is going to be rubbing shoulders with. And then you also ensure you have strict rules and guidelines. You show her those options. And then the fact that, you see some of these young girls, like under Helen's project, they're like getting like being supported, going to school, like school fees, education, life. So I think right now, I think women's rugby in that regard, it's heading in the right direction. And I commend Helen for what she's doing, and she's doing it right. Because, so many parents are now letting their daughters to play rugby, and they're actually trusting her to handle like their daughters. And it's also the fact that the people rubbing shoulders with their daughters are perfect role models for that, their daughters. So I think right now, the direction we're heading, like working with Helen and knowing what she's doing, I believe she's doing the right thing and she's heading in the right direction.
That's right. So we've seen you engaged in several tournaments that do not involve Uganda rugby. Tell us more about those tournaments. Your big brother is telling us about the Barbados tournament where I think pedicure and manicure were part of your first things to do before you wait for the tournament. But enlighten us more. How do we get more girls involved in such tournaments?
Um, well, because I play for a team called Fine Rugby now, FRN. It's more or less it's an English organization, and they are more like it's an English team. But the co-founder gets players from different parts of the world, and then she makes one team, and then we go for tours or invitational team tournaments. But I was connected to FRN through Helen because she played with them the time she was in Europe doing her PhD in Sweden. So she got a connection. She played with them. So when she came back to Uganda, they wanted someone. They actually had a player who could actually play, and then she recommended. So the first tournament I played with them was 2017 Dubai Sevens, of which I went and I represented. I played like everything. I played my heart out, and basically, and they were impressed. So every year when there's they invite me to actually play with them for tournaments. So we did 2017 and 2018 Dubai Sevens. Then in 2019, they wanted to change it up and play another tournament. So in 2019, we went for the Barbados Sevens in the Caribbean.
Okay.
So basically, it's just I was lucky. Like also, I was connected. It's a connection. It's like how, like Emily, Emily.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know Emily.
Connected to play in New Zealand.
Okay.
So on my part, I think it's all about working hard and showing what you can do. That here in Uganda, if someone can see and then they see there's an opportunity, they can actually recommend what you can do and give you a chance. It's like same thing even when same thing with Philip. He's talented, but he has also worked hard, he has put in everything. And to get these connections, he was able to get connections because people saw that he actually works hard and what he can do, and he was able to get the connections. So all I encourage these young girls, just work hard, push yourself. Don't wait for the coaches to tell you what to do. Put in the extra. Even discipline. You have to be disciplined. Discipline is a very important factor to getting these connections too. So yeah.
Yeah. So we have an interesting question from Helen here. If Uganda were to meet New Zealand tomorrow for a sevens quarter final, though that is far-fetched, pick any 6 players kept and unkept from the past and present that you would love to play with against the New Zealand team.
Okay. First, of course, it would be me. Then Helen, I would love Helen Buteme. You remember Brenda Kayi? Then I would have Emily Lekuru. I would have Auma Grace. Then I would have Rachel Kakaire. Do they have to be still playing or retired? Anyway, I'll just
past and present.
Okay, Rachel. I would love to have Rachel Kakaire. Then I would love to have. How many have I? Those are how many? Me, Helen, Brenda Kai, Emily Lekuru, Auma Grace.
I think you have one to go.
Rachel Kakaire. Then the other person, there's this player, I like the way she's very aggressive and she would bring the aggression in the team. That's who? Mirembe. Peace Mirembe.
Okay. Yeah. Coach, your question has been answered. Another interesting question. I think this is there are two questions which seem to be the same. Are there any mentorship arrangements where veterans come in and take young players under their wings? And what steps are
Mm,
you taking to mentor the next group of Lady Cranes?
well, I don't think there's a mentorship program per se, but I think it's something that's happened, that's going on automatically, you know. Personally, like what we are doing right now, as you're playing with them, you mentor them even off and on pitch. There's no like program like you're following per se. It's just an initiative, like you're playing with them on pitch, and then out of your own initiative, you're like, you talk to you talk to the young girls, you advise them, you talk to them, I tell them do this, school, you tell them balance this with school, you have to fight, basically it's something that happens automatically. It's not planned, there's no program that's planned. Or probably the only program I know is one where Helen brings the young girls with Anne Sizomu, Madame Wadia.
Yeah,
Yeah, Anne Sizomu, they pick days and they just have a session and just talk to the young girls. So there's also that separate session just to help the young girls, just talking about life and different things. But then also now, as me as a veteran, I also do my own as a player, as I show them what to do, tell them what to do, guide them in the right direction, and tell them, you have to also focus your career, school, and all that kind of thing. So yeah.
sure. That is very great. That is where we need everyone who has played rugby or has been part of rugby. They need to all take up that direction because we need to mentor the
Yeah.
next generation.
But I think also, even as the way we carry ourselves, I think that's also mentorship and trying to show,
That
it's how
is
you
true.
carry yourself. Even you as a person, you need to show them what to do. Sometimes you may not tell them, but act and do. When you do something and they will look at you and they'll be like, oh my, I need to act like, I need to be like her. So that's also another way we actually, as me personally, I try as much as I can to mentor them in the best way I can.
That is true. So, any
Yeah.
words to any aspiring women rugby players, those who have not joined the game, those who look up to joining the game? Uh, what do you have to say to them?
First and foremost, don't fear playing rugby. It's a very lovely sport. You may think it's very aggressive, but it's not. Then it's a sport where you need to. It requires a lot of discipline. Um, and then discipline and respect for yourself, respect for your teammates, respect for each other. Then it's a sport that it requires a lot of teamwork. It's a sport you can't play alone. You can do all the things alone, but if you're not playing with your team, then nothing will work. And at the end of the day, the team won't succeed or won't win any games. Then it's more like it's a mental sport. It's also it requires a lot of mental strength and a lot of heart. But I think at the end of the day, it's an amazing and addictive sport. So they
That is
should try
true.
it out. They shouldn't shy away from playing rugby. It's amazing. They may not compete at a high level, but it's something like you can keep playing like locally, and even just to help. It even boosts and helps with your confidence. So it's a very lovely sport to play, and they shouldn't shy away from it, from rugby. And then
Yeah,
to the upcoming players,
yeah, you can
you asked me
continue.
then to the upcoming players and the players playing, they shouldn't think talent only will take them far. You know,
True.
they need to work. They need to put in that extra work. Yeah? Give it everything they have. After sessions, go do your extra. Go to the gym. Go do your sprints. Go run. Go do your passing skills. And then also have another thing: discipline. Respect yourself. Respect your teammates, and always play as a team. Teamwork is very important in rugby. Teamwork is one of the biggest thing in the rugby as a sport. And then you have to play with your heart and everything you have.
That is very true. Yeah, so there's also an interesting question here. How do the female fans come in and help besides playing rugby? How do you involve other stakeholders with the fans? Because we
Uh,
want to know more about women's rugby. We want to get involved and all that.
well, the fans, you remember that the drive would do, like during the games, would move around asking fans to help contribute something, for like players transport, like for players like things like ORS and that kind of stuff. So basically that's the best, I think, fans, you can, whatever you can, you contribute towards. Let me say, you say this is for water for this period of time, this is for transport, this is for meals, for this period of time. But even watching, also watching and, medical, contributing towards the medical kit, that also
True.
goes, like, it helps a lot. So for women's rugby, those are the small things we actually need that can actually take the girls forward, and motivate them to actually work harder when they know that they're actually being taken care of and they feel that they're actually being taken care of.
Yeah. So how is women's rugby going to address the issue of sponsorship? Because I know you need a lot of finance to move the game forward. How are you trying to address this issue?
Oh, that's an issue that's for the people in the, that's a board, like, should I say, people who sit up there in the board. I don't know how they're going to address it, because at the time right now we actually depend on the same sponsorship as the men, which is
Okay.
which is also not good, because we can't share the same resources. The resources are not for both teams. However, going out to the players, all I ask, maybe as players, let's work hard, let's put in the effort and the work, win games, perform, and then maybe that's when companies will actually have an interest in actually working with us. We shouldn't sit back and wait for sponsors to come for us to perform.
That's
I
true.
think even as players, with the little that we have, let's go the extra mile, let's go the extra mile, put in everything we have, show that even with the limited resources, we can actually perform, produce the results. And that's when I'm pretty sure sponsors will be interested in working with a team that can actually, with limited resources, and then still perform. And then they will want to actually put in something in the team. That's what I think and feel we should do.
All right. We have a fan. Uh, Kimbo has said they will be willing to join, to chip in whenever they can. Just post where they can transfer their funds or anything towards the support of women's rugby in Uganda. I hope Helen, you're taking notice of that, because I know you are one of the
Thank
pioneers of women's rugby.
you. Yeah.
W-
Yeah.
w-
Thanks, Kimbo. I actually know him. He's my cousin.
Yeah, I think all of us will be
Yeah.
involved in such drives, and going forward, I think I encourage
Yeah.
all our rugby fanatics fans, everybody who's watching live, to be involved more in women's rugby. We support women's
Yeah.
rugby so that
Yeah.
our game moves forward as one.
Even our games, they need to also watch, like, the way they attend. Let me say, our games are usually early before the
True,
men's
true,
games.
true.
Let them start coming in early. The whole afternoon you're there supporting. You watch the women play. Make them feel like, let them feel the support from the fans. That will come a long way and actually will feel appreciated. That's also something that can be done from the fans.
That's true. I think we can also encourage more of the rugby playing, the guys who are playing more rugby, who have
Yeah,
more experience, to come in more onto your training sessions and mentor those
yeah,
young girls, because mentorship is a two-way thing.
yeah. That's true.
Yeah,
That's
because
goes
I've done
a
it,
long
they
way.
know most of it. Like
Yeah, and most of these girls,
I remember you taking some kicking lessons from Gabriel Redo and
yeah,
Jose Redo. Though I
they
thought
still,
it wa-
they
I
actually
th-
still do.
though I thought it was odd, because their kicking is awful, but it was okay to me.
Well, I did say that. I did. So
Yeah, so if we have no more questions, I'll leave Charlotte to give us her last remarks before we can end the session. But before we go, Charlotte, be reminded you will pick one fan, only one fan, who has been more engaging to us, and Rugby
Wow.
Fanatics will surely reward them.
First, okay. The last words first. I would like to say, thank you to Rugby Fanatics for giving me this opportunity to talk about women's rugby and about myself, and hope the fans out there will actually support women's rugby and see what it's all about. And actually, there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential in women's rugby. I would also like, I don't get to say this much, but there are people I'd like to appreciate. First, of course, Team Orange, I would like to say we appreciate everything you do. Timoteo, I appreciate everything you do. Fredo, Helen has done so much. I'm still playing up to now because she gives me a strict program I have to follow, like strength and conditioning, running. She makes sure I'm doing the right thing. That's why I'm still playing up to now.
All right.
So thanks to her, she's doing a lot for women's rugby. Thanks to the fans, family. And then, basically, let's encourage. If you know female players, most of us here in the chat or listening in or watching, so many female players who play for Uganda. Just encourage them to work hard and push themselves harder. Let them not think everything will be served to them on a plate. Hard work plays. If you put in the hard work, the results will come, and then so many things will happen. So many opportunities will open up for us as women. And let's stick together as women. Stick together as a women, as team, and we'll achieve so much, and we'll get back to the top. And Kenya will be actually whipping. So we need to whoop those guys, man. We need to come back to the top. So yeah.
So the single question is still coming in, though I know most people have shied away from asking about your age, and because of course all of us.
I'm not embarrassed about my age. I can, if they really want to know my age, I can always tell them because I'm proud. I'm 34, making 35.
They have had.
It is just a number. It is just a number. So yeah.
But Ruben has asked about your status like 10 times.
Tell Ruben to go look for a platter.
So we have some Kenyans joining in. More Kenyans. Welcome, Godi, Eunice. I saw. I think she went away. But we're glad you always join us. Of course, we do some banter on you guys, and these ladies here have whipped you several times, and sure, very soon they're coming back to whip you again.
Well, Ruben is calling me Mzee, but I can even run faster than you.
Oh, whoa! Shots fired. So yeah. I see darkness has approached. I think we should leave you to go and do the rest of your work. We know, Charlotte, you're a busy lady. Thank you for your time. Thank you for enlightening the plight in women's rugby, giving us your history, your stories, and everything. We sure have enjoyed everything coming from you, and we hope to host more and more ladies. But before we go, we would like you to choose one fan so that Rugby Fanatics can do some rewarding to our loyal fans.
One, you're making it hard for me anyway, because there've been so many, but the one person I think I'll choose is Ernest Akor. Yeah.
So Ernest.
Sorry. If I had a choice, I would pick more.
No. That's enough. Yeah. Ernest. This time you are the lucky fan. I wouldn't like to go with two fans this time around. So we shall go with Ernest. I surely has been a loyal fan from the go. Next week we are hosting a one Adnan Kauma who plays rugby here, professional rugby here in the USA, and I'm sure most of you would like to know how it is to play pro rugby, about his aspirations to represent the Uganda Rugby Cranes and everything. So it will be an interesting chat, and I wouldn't like you guys to miss out. So join us 5:30 next Saturday, same time. So you guys get a chance to know more about Adnan Kauma. Thank you. Again, I'm Antale Joshua, your host. We shall be glad to have you back here on a Saturday. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All
Have a
right.
good evening.
Have a good evening too, Charlotte.
Gab, calm down. We are still friends.